those points.
When you talk about a Western, and I know you're a great fan of the so-called spaghetti Westerns and influence on your career, but I'm from another generation, but I think that a lot of people think of Western, they think of John Wayne, Clint Eastwood. Your, quote, Westerns are not that way.
They're not necessarily, but I think that's a good thing because, look, I love John Wayne movies. I love Randolph Scott movies. I love Rory Calhoun movies. And, but also I love the postmodernist Westerns of the 70s as well. I love something like a Little Big Man or Soldier Blue or something like that. Even McCabe and Mrs. Miller. But I actually think if you're really going to try to make the Western genre really work its magic, then you've got to do your version of it. It's not, it would be silly for me to try to do a John Ford type movie now, because who would I be making that to? Those movies, you can appreciate them, but as far as actually being a piece that goes out and entertains the world on a Friday night, they were made for a different audience. They were made for a different America. They were made, and particularly made for white people in the America of that time, of the 50s and of the 40s. And one of the things that's actually really exciting about the Western genre is, probably more than any other genre that there is, even though they all take place 100 and something years ago, Westerns reflect the decade in which they were made, more than musicals, more than period dramas, more than even comedies, actually. The Westerns of the 50s reflected an Eisenhower America in every way, shape, and form. And if they didn't reflect an Eisenhower America, they were weird. They were an oddball thing. Maybe Johnny Guitar doesn't reflect an Eisenhower America, but that's what makes it an oddball film. Or consequently, the 70s reflected a Watergate era, reflected an era of where you didn't believe in the myths anymore. All those myths you were told about Billy the Kid actually being a cool guy and Jesse James actually being the lovable rogue, well, those were lies. They were killers. They were absolute cold-blooded killers. Wyatt Earp wasn't the way he was sold to us. And then the 70s took great joy in ripping the scabs off of that and showing you what hadn't been seen before. So hopefully, this is my version of the 2000s, what I'm offering.